What up, y'all? Terry Warfield. Yo, I hope you're having a great day. Yo, if this is your first time here, a big fat welcome to you. And if you're part of the fam, you're part of the squad, and you came back, welcome back. Make sure you drop a hashtag up in here just so I know you're up in the comments. And before we move forward, go ahead and drop that like early on this video. Who gonna be the first one to drop the like, man? And also, if you are not subscribed, consider subscribing to this channel, man. I do all types of dope stuff, photography, video. So anyways, you know why we here today. You know why we here. The Sony A7S III. Man, we've been waiting for this camera for about 5 years, man, 5 years. Let me give you a couple things real quick. I'm just letting you know ahead of time, this is not about to be some spec-driven discussion. I did not get a review unit, however, I did pre-order one, but there's a few other things I want to tell you before we move forward. I pre-ordered it, and honestly, y'all see how ashy my hands are, but honestly, I'm very thankful that I was able to pre-order. This is the first time in a long time where like my money been straight, like I'm eating good, and I'm really thankful and grateful to be able to order this camera. And I'm just sharing that so y'all have some reality of me, man. It's been rough the last couple years, and I'm finally at a place where I'm getting back in stride and things are looking up. And I'm excited to have this camera. But don't think if you couldn't hop on the train today and get an A7S III because of money or whatever the case may be, that you need to feel sad about it, because there will always be new cameras on the horizon. And if you already have a camera, there's nothing wrong with the camera you have now. Do not fall into the FOMO trap thinking that because everybody else got to order the camera and you didn't get to, that you can't create something dope with what you have. You absolutely positively can. All right, now motivational stuff out the way. Let's talk A7S III. Now again, I'm not going through all the specs. There's 1,000 spec videos out there if that's what you want. Really, I want to tell you the things that got me hyped, got me excited, the things that I can't wait to use, and also a little tidbit at the end of why I think this is great for all of us. Now, before we get into the actual meat and potatoes, I also got one more thing to say. Yes, the A7S III is finally here. The Canon R5 and R6 and all of these other amazing cameras are out, right? There does not need to be a winner between the Canon R5 and A7S III, yo. That's stupid, man. This is great for all of us that we even have cameras like this. There does not need to be a winner. Each camera has its own respective audience that it's trying to target. Neither camera is perfect. So my message is pick your freaking poison. Whichever one checks the most boxes for you in your given category and your given price range, that's the best camera that you go with. Now, let's get into why I ordered the A7S III. I already got 2 cameras. I'm filming on one right now, the Sony A7 III, and a lot of y'all know A6300 is over there barely getting used. The only time I really use that camera is as a backup on paid shoots in case this one fails, and also to get B-roll of this camera. Aside from that, A6300 is over there in the cut. I love my A7 III. Y'all know how much I love my A7 III, and if you don't know, you know now. I love this camera. It does so many things right. Is it perfect? No. Is it perfect for video? No. Is it perfect for photography? No. But it bridges the best happy medium out there, in my opinion. And for that, I love it so much. It is my workhorse, my go-to. I freaking love the A7 III. However, there are some things that I've always wanted changed. And the A7S III changes upon so many of those things. I'm not about to list them all. So first thing is full-size HDMI. I can't tell you how bad I want that. I cannot stand those little punk mini HDMI ports. Get them out of here. The next thing I'm super pumped about is the flip out screen. We have wanted this for so freaking long. And on top of that is a redesigned menu that we can actually touch, manipulate, and use. That has been one of my biggest gripes with the A7S III. And as a matter of fact, every Sony camera, I've said this in every single Sony review that I've done, that they need to take a page out of Canon, Fuji, Panasonic, basically everybody else's book, and get a touch interactive menu system. And finally, we got one. One of the other things that really annoyed me about the A7 III was the low resolution EVF and also display. I'm working up a sweat because I'm getting so hyped. But that really annoyed me. That has been fixed with the A7S III. We get this super clear EVF and a much better display. And honestly, those small things had me thinking about switching to a Canon because of Canon's ease of use and interface, and now Sony has fixed that problem. What else am I super pumped about? Better card slots, way better 4K capabilities. Now, the A7 III and every Sony camera for that matter always get it right when it comes to photo. Straight fire, tons of dynamic range, blazing fast autofocus, great low light capability. The video has always been limited. Now, let me also say this. I've never had a video client be like, yo, this is 8-bit Sony footage. I don't want this crap. I've never had a photography client say, yo, this image is only 24 megapixels. Get that out of here. The reality is, most people don't care. And unless you're on a film set, yes, the A7 III and most modern cameras are more than enough for the average person. But I'm at a point in my creative career where if there is better out there and I can afford it, then I would love to have it. So I'm not saying that this stuff is necessity, because it's not. I'm just telling you the things that bother me about the A7 III that personally I want to change. Now, back to video. Whew, where do we start, boy? I'm not into 8K. That's just me. I think we are far off as a society with 8K being practical, not because it's not dope, because it is, but just the cost of entry, storage, bandwidth, heat limitations, all of that stuff, processing limitations. To me, 8K is just not practical right now. What I am pumped about is having super good 4K with ultra low light capability, with blazing fast autofocus, better color science, way more bit rates, and dynamic range. Now, y'all know I am the slow-mo king. Put a crown on my head. Yes, I love slow-mo, especially 120 and 240 frames per second. Now, on the A7 III, slow-mo ain't the best. It is soft, I'm gonna be honest. It's not that sharp, and it's not a lot of detail. Is it usable? Yes, it's usable. I use it all the time. But would I love to have better? Yes. So I'm most excited out of all of the video features, 4K, 120 frames per second. No pixel binning, no line skipping, none of that crap. Only a slight crop, but I still get ultimate autofocus with eye detect and all of that stuff at 10-bit 422 internal. The A7S III almost eliminates the need to have an external recorder unless you want to shoot 16-bit RAW over HDMI, because it could do everything internally. All of these frame rates that we've been wanting, all of these codecs, it could do all of this stuff internally with autofocus, with sound at 422 10-bit internal. That to me is just wow. That is what I'm most excited about, is the increased dynamic range. And like S-Log, our base ISO is only 640, expandable down to 100, which effectively means there's no reason for me to use center profiles, because S-Log 2 is no longer such a problem due to exposure. HLG3, which is my favorite picture profile, which I just put a video up there by the way, is also on the camera and achieves almost just as much dynamic range on the A7S III as S-Log. These are things that I'm mad pumped about. Mad pumped about the new menu system, full-size HDMI. We still get stabilization. We still get all of this stuff, plus some new stuff from the ZV-1. Like I said, I'm not going over all of the specs, but new audio options. Like, there's just so much stuff that the A7S III gets right, and I cannot wait. However, one elephant in the room that we need to talk about. We got to talk about it. 12 megapixels. So many people are mad about 12 megapixels. Is it a big deal? I don't know. I don't know if it's a big deal. I'm used to having at least 24 megapixels, and I do like to crop in. Now, some people may argue that dynamic range, low light sensitivity, all of that stuff is more important than megapixels, but megapixels are still important. So I think it really depends on use case scenario. If you're a person that does landscape photography, or maybe astrophotography, or maybe real estate photography, and being able to punch in is important to you, this may not be the camera for you. You may want to get one of the current generation Sony cameras, because they're all still freaking amazing. Or alternatively, wait for the A7 IV, because a lot of this stuff that we're getting in the A7S III will trickle down to the A7 IV. Did you see that? Did you see that little trickle down action right there? A lot of that stuff will trickle down. So maybe it's better to wait for that camera, because that camera will be the best of both worlds. It'll be an awesome video camera and stills camera. Won't have all the features from the A7R4, won't have all the features from the A9 II, won't have all the features from the A7S III, but a nice blend of them all. You may want to wait for that, or just get a current generation one. But if you're like me and you're doing mostly stuff for social networks, your clients are usually just posting stuff for social networks from their photo shoots, or maybe just they want a video to put on their website or to post to Instagram, 12 megapixels is more than enough for those situations. So it really depends on user case scenario. And in my case, one of these cameras is getting sold. I'm not sure which one, but both of them are still 24 megapixels. So I have a backup just in case said client says, hey, I want 24 megapixels. But anyways, that's why I'm excited about the A7S III. So much technology, it's all gonna trickle down in the future cameras, and it's at a respectable price point at $34.99. I cannot wait to get my hands on it, but I'm curious to know what you think. Did you pre-order one? Are you sticking with the camera you have? Are you gonna wait it out for the A7 IV? Are you a Sony user switching to Canon? Maybe you're a Canon user coming to Sony, maybe you Fuji, Panasonic, I don't know. Let me know y'all comments in the description, man. I would love to hear it, and that's all I got for you today. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Peace and chicken grease. I'm out, Terry Warfield. Peace out!